Imagine you're standing at a starting line. Your heart is racing. Your mind is filled with images of success, of a better version of yourself. That's when motivation kicks in. It's like a fire that burns strong, propelling you forward. But then, after a few days, that fire starts to die down. You get tired. You procrastinate. You start making excuses not to continue. Have you ever been in that situation? The fact is, motivation is very volatile. It comes quickly and goes quickly. You might get excited after a speech, an inspirational book, or an energizing video. But after a few days, that excitement is gone, leaving a void that makes you feel disappointed in yourself. And this is why so many people start out strong but then give up halfway through. But don't be too quick to blame yourself. Motivation isn't designed to last. It's just the initial catalyst, the wind that gets the sails going. To get the boat going, you need something more lasting, more stable, and that's discipline. Discipline is like the rudder that keeps a ship on course. It's not flashy, and sometimes it's boring, but without it, you'll quickly be swept away by the waves of life. Discipline is what keeps you steady and persistent, even when motivation is lacking. It's not based on inspiration, but on conscious choice and commitment to yourself. But here's the truth: if discipline isn't tied to a clear goal, it becomes a burden. You can force yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. But if you don't know why you're doing it, you'll quickly burn out and give up. It's like running on a hamster wheel. You're putting in a lot of effort, but you're not getting anywhere. The key here is balance. Discipline and motivation are not opposites, but rather two pillars that go hand in hand. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. When both exist together, you can create lasting change in your life. And that's why today, I want to share with you strategies for maintaining discipline and motivation every day. These are not dry theories, but principles you can apply immediately to make discipline a natural part of your life, and motivation a never-ending source of energy. Ask yourself, how many times have you started a project with great enthusiasm, only to find yourself back where you started a few days later? How many times have you found yourself stuck in a start, quit, start again loop? If you find yourself in these situations, you are not alone. Millions of people struggle with the same problem. But trust me, there is a way out. By understanding the relationship between discipline and motivation, you will no longer be a victim of fleeting excitement. You will learn how to build systems to keep you on track, even when the feeling is not there. And more importantly, you will find a way to turn your daily efforts into sustained progress, rather than short-lived bursts. In the following sections, I'll dive into each strategy and principle so you can apply them to your life right away. But first, remember this: motivation gets you started, but discipline gets you there. And if you combine the two, nothing can stop you from moving forward. Have you ever wondered why we often start something new with all the excitement, only to have it all disappear after a few days, leaving us feeling depressed and guilty? The answer lies in the fact that we often confuse motivation and discipline. These two concepts may sound similar, but in reality, they are completely different, and only by understanding them can you truly master your journey of change. Motivation is the initial spark. It usually comes from an external source: a speech that gives you goosebumps, an inspirational YouTube video, or a vision of your ideal body, career, or life. It gives you a strong feeling that compels you to take immediate action. But let's be honest, how many times have you been on fire for the first few days, only to see that fire die out when things get tough? That's the downside of motivation. It's a short-lived energy that can be easily extinguished by fatigue, temptation, or fear of failure. Discipline, on the other hand, is not flashy or loud. It is like water that flows quietly, steadily, day after day. Discipline is not based on a momentary feeling, but on an inner commitment and a habit that is repeated continuously. When you choose to wake up early every morning to exercise, even when you have no interest, when you sit at your desk on time, even when your mind is heavy and your body wants to give up, that is the power of discipline. And this power is what will carry you to your destination, even when the fire of motivation has long since gone out. Interestingly, however, they need each other. Motivation is like a friend who pulls you off the starting line, giving you the courage to take a step, But discipline is the wheel that keeps you rolling on the long road. If you only have motivation, you will easily give up halfway. If you only have discipline, the journey can become dry and heavy. But when these two elements go together, you will have both the resilience and the perseverance to go all the way. So how do we nurture discipline, which is often considered rigid, to become stronger and more alive? The answer lies in one very important factor: why. Your why is the deep motivation behind every action. People who give up easily often do so because they do not have a big enough reason to continue. For example, many people go to the gym just to lose weight quickly, before a special occasion. But when the results do not come immediately, they get discouraged and stop. Meanwhile, a person who exercises because he wants to live longer to take care of his family, to see his children grow up, to enjoy a healthy old age, almost never gives up. Their reasons are not just short-term, but are linked to deep values in life. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Write down your answer to the question, I do this too. Be honest and specific. It could be, I exercise so I have the energy to work and enjoy time with my family. Or, I learn a new skill so I can expand my career opportunities and stay ahead of the curve. Then, read it over and over again every morning. This repetition acts as a silent reminder, helping you tie your daily actions to a larger purpose. When you have a strong enough why, discipline becomes less of a burden. It becomes less of a dry compulsion and more of a natural choice. You no longer have to rely on short-term flashes of motivation. Instead, you are driven by a clear purpose, a deep meaning, that makes every little daily action worthwhile. And it's at that moment that you realize, motivation may take you a few steps, but discipline, fueled by why, is what gets you to the finish line. ChatGPT said, have you ever been in this situation? You make a huge resolution. Set a huge goal, like read 50 pages a day, or work out for 2 hours every morning, but after a few days, you find yourself exhausted, giving up, and not even wanting to try again? This is a mistake that many people make. We often want to change our lives overnight, but we forget that real change comes from small, consistent, sustainable steps. That's why you should start with a small habit. Try to apply 2-minute rule, a simple but powerful strategy. Instead of waiting until you feel inspired to start, just do something very small for 2 minutes. For example, if you want to build a running habit, don't think about running 5K. Just put on your shoes, step out the door, and let your body do the rest. Often, the hardest part isn't running, but taking that first step of getting out of the chair. The magic lies in the accumulation gradually. Instead of aiming to read a book a week, which can be overwhelming, start with 5 pages a day. That may sound like a small amount, but consider the numbers. 5 pages a day means 150 pages a month, or 2 to 3 books a year. And more importantly, you're not just reading a few books. You're creating reading habits, something that will follow you for life. Once a habit is formed, you will find that you no longer need to rely on motivation as much. Think about brushing your teeth. Do you need motivation to brush your teeth every morning? No, because it has become an indispensable part of your daily life. The same goes for discipline. When it is automated into a habit, it becomes natural, no longer a burden, no longer a compulsion. But to maintain a small habit, you can't rely on willpower alone. You need another element, and that is the environment. Your environment influences your behavior more than you think. A messy desk can make you procrastinate on getting started. A phone right next to you can easily drag you into a social media vortex for hours on end. On the other hand, a positive, clear, well-designed environment makes it easier to act, almost without thinking. Try redesigning your living and working space. If you want to read more, put a book on your nightstand or bedside table, so it's the first thing you see. If you want to maintain a workout routine, lay out your clothes and sneakers the night before so you can just throw them on and go. If you want to do deep work, create a quiet, uncluttered desk corner, free of distractions. And an important secret, eliminate temptation from the start. Don't let your phone be a constant distraction. There are apps that can help you block social media during work hours, or limit the amount of time you spend mindlessly scrolling. Remember, human willpower is limited. If you constantly have to fight temptation, you'll quickly run out of energy. So why not eliminate temptation in the first place and save your energy for more important things? When you combine small habits with a well-designed environment, discipline becomes less of a challenge. It becomes a natural part of your life, allowing you to maintain consistency every day without straining yourself. And from those small steps, you'll find yourself going much further than from bursts of effort that quickly give up. Remember, change doesn't come in one big leap, but in small, steady, sustainable steps. So the question is, today, what will you start with? What small habits bring you closer to the best version of yourself? There is one thing that most of us know but find very difficult to do: self-control. You can make a series of plans, write down beautiful goals, but if you don't know how to control yourself, everything will just stop on paper. Self-control is the foundation of discipline. It starts with very small things. Learn to say no to an unnecessary invitation to a gathering. Refuse to scroll through social media for 5 more minutes when you need to concentrate. Or restrain yourself from eating another cake when you are full. It sounds simple, but it is those small moments that determine whether you can maintain discipline for a long time or not. Think about it. How many times have you let your emotions get the best of you? You know you should exercise, but you say, "I'm tired today, so I'll just skip one session." One session turns into 2, then a week, and eventually, the discipline you've built starts to crumble. That's why it's important to set a goal. Limit yourself. Limits are not to make you live rigidly, but to protect you from the whims of temporary emotions. But discipline doesn't mean torturing yourself. One important secret to staying motivated is to know how to reward yourself. After completing a difficult task, give yourself a well-deserved reward, a delicious meal, a favorite episode of a movie, or just 15 minutes of relaxation. By doing this, you are reprogramming your brain to associate discipline with positive feelings. Instead of seeing discipline as a compulsion, you begin to see it as a path to joy and satisfaction. It is important to combine discipline with flexibility. Don't be so strict that you become a prisoner of your own schedule. If you push yourself too hard, your body and mind will burn out, and you'll give up. Instead, pace yourself. Take breaks when you need them. Listen to your body, and allow yourself to blow off occasionally. Discipline only lasts when it works with life, not against it. Besides self-control and rewards, there is a huge source of power that many people often overlook: community. Compare this. You work out alone in your room, and one day you feel lazy. It's easy to skip, but if you make an appointment with a friend to run with, it's not so easy to quit, because you know someone is waiting for you. Companion group create accountability, motivates and keeps you on track. Not only do you stop at training, you can publish a commitment statement, share your goals with family, friends, or even on social media. When everyone knows what you're working toward, you'll feel more accountable to not give up so easily. That's the power of positive pressure. It makes you more committed to your goals. And if you want to go further, join a disciplined community. It could be a book group, a fitness club, or any personal development group. In that community, you will find like-minded people, inspiring stories, and even a push when you feel like giving up. Alone you can go fast, but together you can go much further. Remember, discipline is not just an individual thing. It is a combination of internal self-control and outside support. When you learn to say no, reward yourself appropriately, pace yourself, and tap into the power of community, discipline becomes less difficult. It becomes a natural part of your life, and so does motivation. So, the question for you today is, have you really practiced your self-control? And do you have a community to move forward with? Here's something the Stoics said thousands of years ago that's still true today: to live a powerful and free life, you can't depend on your emotions. Think about it. How many times have you waited for inspiration to strike before you start working? And how many times has that inspiration disappeared before you've accomplished something important? The Stoics understood that emotions are like the weather. It can be sunny in the morning and rainy in the afternoon. If your life depended on that fickleness, you'd never be stable. Instead, they relied on reason and discipline. Right action doesn't require emotion. It requires consistent choice. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, once said, "What hinders action is what promotes it." This is not only a beautiful philosophical saying, but also a guideline for cultivating inner discipline. When you encounter difficulties, instead of seeing them as obstacles, see them as exercises. Every time you face hardship, you are training your mind to become stronger and more resilient. Just as muscles grow when they are tested with weight, inner discipline is also developed in adversity. If life were always easy, you would never know how strong you are. And to turn discipline into true inner strength, the Stoics practiced a very profound idea: amor fati, embrace your destiny. This means accepting whatever happens to you, good or bad, as a natural part of the journey. Instead of asking, why me? They ask, what can I learn from this? When you learn to see adversity as a part of life, rather than an injustice, you will find yourself feeling less resentful and more motivated to keep going. Because in the end, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the power of inner discipline. You are no longer carried away by your emotions, no longer broken by every event. Instead, you become your own master, steadfast and clear-headed in every situation. And that is also why the Stoics can face loss, suffering, even failure, and still remain calm and move forward. However, understanding the theory is not enough. You need practical tools to maintain discipline and motivation every day. One of the most powerful tools is writing a diary. Recording your progress every day not only helps you see the changes, but also helps you reflect on the difficulties you have experienced. Instead of letting failure pass by meaninglessly, you turn it into a lesson to become more mature. Besides, create a simple checklist for yourself. Every time you complete and check off a small task, your brain releases a sense of accomplishment, encouraging you to continue. Don't underestimate the power of these small milestones. They are cumulative motivation, taking you further than you ever thought possible. Another tool is to visualize desired outcomes. Every morning, close your eyes and imagine a better version of yourself, healthier, more confident, more disciplined. When you connect your emotions to that goal, you will find yourself more energized to take action. And finally, a very Stoic practice: voluntary hardship. Voluntarily undergo hardship. It could be taking a cold shower instead of a hot one, taking a long walk instead of taking a car ride, or eating simple meals instead of always seeking comfort. These voluntary challenges are not meant to torture yourself, but to remind you that you are stronger than you think. When you get used to challenging yourself, you will no longer be afraid of unexpected difficulties in life. When you combine Stoic thinking with practical daily tools, discipline becomes more than just a habit, strong inner strength. It is the foundation that helps you not only stay motivated, but also stay calm and steadfast on your journey to maturity. As you come to the end of this journey, there is one truth I want you to keep in mind: discipline is the key. Motivation is just the catalyst. Motivation is important. It lights the fire that gets you started. But motivation is like the wind. Sometimes it is strong, sometimes it is weak, and sometimes it disappears completely. If you rely on it alone, you will always be up and down with your emotions, not going very far. It is discipline, formed into a habit, that gets you there, keeping you moving forward even when you're no longer interested. So how do you turn discipline into a way of life? Think back to the whole strategy we explored together. First, understand the difference between discipline and motivation so you don't fall into the illusion that inspiration alone is enough. Then, defining a why is really profound, such a big reason that every time you want to give up, you will remember and ask yourself, who and what am I doing this for? Next, let's start with small habits. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. Just one step every day, compounded over time, will take you further than any short-term burst. With that, designing a suitable living environment, a tidy space, a distraction-free desk, or companions will make discipline much easier. Discipline also needs to go hand in hand. Self-control and smart rewards. Learn to say no to things that distract you from your goals. And don't forget to reward yourself with small pleasures after completing difficult tasks. This helps your brain associate discipline with positivity, rather than feeling forced. Don't forget the power of community. When you have people on your side, you're never alone. Join a group, make a public commitment, or find a friend to pursue your goals with. You'll be amazed at the motivational power of shared accountability. And above all, nurture your self-stoic thinking. Don't wait for your emotions to guide you. Act with reason, accept difficulties as a part of life, and practice, amor fati, loving your fate, including the hardships. When you do that, you will stay motivated even in adversity. Finally, use these simple but effective support tools. Journal to see daily progress. Create checklists to feel accomplished. Visualize desired outcomes to connect with a better version of yourself. Each tool is an anchor that keeps you on your journey. The message I want to send to you is, discipline is not a burden. It is the gift that helps you take control of your life. Motivation is not something you have to wait for. It is something you can create through daily actions. You don't have to move fast. Just move steadily, little by little, and believe that when discipline becomes a part of your identity, motivation will always be nurtured, and you will become a stronger version of yourself. So, don't wait until tomorrow. Start today, with a small action, a right choice, to open a long, meaningful journey, because in the end, it's discipline that defines who you are, and motivation that lights the way. You have just seen the true power of discipline and motivation, but this is just the beginning. Don't stop at this video, because there are many secrets to your inner strength journey that you have yet to discover. In the channel's playlist, you will find deeper strategies, how to overcome procrastination, how to control your emotions when they are out of control, or the Stoic principles that help you persevere despite all adversity. Let each video be a building block to the strongest version of you. Click the playlist now, because mastering your life is not a lesson. It's a journey you're about to embark on.